Hello viewers, this is Sunny Day. Thanks for joining us today on WeatherSpoof. Today we have a very special segment prepared for you due to Pluto's semi-recent planet reclassification. In 1930, Pluto was discovered and became part of the Kuiper Belt and the 9th planet in our solar system, until 3 years ago. In 2005, Michael Brown discovered a new planet, now called Eris, which is 5% larger than Pluto. The question arose, should Eris become the 10th planet, or should Pluto not be a planet at all? And here with us today to help elaborate is the distinguished astronomer, Professor Sky. It's wonderful having you on the show, Professor.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Sunny.
So, Professor, as far as you can tell, what is Pluto like?
Well, as far as we can tell, Pluto's surface is a very light brown with tints of yellow and is made of 98% nitrogen ice and has traces of methane and carbon monoxide.
Is it true that Pluto may contain water ice?
That is a definite possibility, Sunny.
Pluto is thought to consist of 50 to 70% rock, 30 to 50% ice, and be made up of 3 layers, similar to that of our Earth. The surface is called the crust. Next, there is the mantle, made up mostly of water ice. Lastly, there is the core, made up of water ice and nitrogen, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, nitrogen.
Yes.
Yes, nitrogen.
Is that right?
Yes, it is nitrogen. The decay of radioactive materials inside of Pluto could be enough.
No, it's silicate.
Is it silicate?
Yes, it's silicate.
Pardon me. I have to stick with the professor here. It is not, in fact, nitrogen. The core is made up of water ice and silicate.
Silicate.
As I was saying.
Can't keep that.
The decay of radioactive material inside of Pluto could be enough to heat the rock to separate from the ice. The rock could then settle into a very dense core surrounded by the mantle. If this heating could continue, an ocean could possibly form on Pluto's surface. Of course, this is all just theory. No one can really know what's going on a planet that's about 3,600 million miles away.
Pluto also has 3 moons: Nix, Hydra, and the largest, Charon. Charon and Pluto are often treated by astronomers as a binary system. Together, this means that they orbit around a common center of mass because of their close gravitational pull. But to be a binary system, the mass cannot be located inside of either.
Speaking of orbits, Pluto and Neptune's orbits cross because Pluto's orbit is different than the others in that it is highly eccentric, or more elliptical than the others, which are more circular. Pluto comes closer to the Sun in one part than Neptune, and therefore their orbits cross. Because of this, couldn't Pluto and Neptune possibly collide very dangerously?
The possibility of that ever happening is very low for a couple of reasons. First, Pluto's orbit is a bit of a tilt. So when Pluto is closest to the Sun, and hence Neptune's orbit, Pluto is actually the farthest above Neptune's orbit. Second, Pluto last crossed Neptune's orbit between 1979 and 1999. And there was one from 1735 to 1749.
It takes a very long time for Pluto to complete its orbit.
Pluto actually comes closer to Uranus at times than it does Neptune. Lastly, Pluto and Neptune wouldn't be able to come very close to each other at all because of their gravitational fields. Pushing against each other, it would look like magnets of the same charge repelling away from each other.
Now that we're more familiar with Pluto, here comes the real question. Why is Pluto no longer a planet?
I believe that you mentioned Eris's discovery. Well, that's where it all began. Well, as telescopes began to progress in quality, people were able to gaze deeper and deeper into space. Eris's discovery was one of many other potential planets, many of which were larger than Eris, which which meant if Eris were to become a planet, so would many other planets. And on top of that, Pluto has not fulfilled the things that planets need to do. A planet is, 1, a celestial body that is in orbit around the sun. 2, has enough self-gravity to overcome a rigid body forces so that it assumes a nearly round shape. 3, has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. See, Pluto has not cleared the neighborhood, or in other words, it has not completely gone around all the other planets.
It crosses Neptune and is therefore, unfortunately, not a planet. Eris and Pluto have both been demoted to dwarf planets and given the list numbers 133440 and 136199. And I believe that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's segment on Pluto on WeatherSpoof. But before you go, we have some very special people to thank, starting with Professor Sky.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, Sonny.
Aww. Inspired by the NCCL school, with funding provided by the WeatherSpoof Fund, the Mecca family, and viewers like you. Tune in next time for our new, exciting, and currently indefinite episode. But until then, this has been Sunny Day saying, keep looking up.
It's time to tour the planets that make up our solar system. Come on! The closest to the sun is the planet Mercury. Next, the shrouded planet Venus is as cloudy as can be. The Earth is next, we call it home, let's hope it stays that way. And then there's Mars, it's really red, what more can I say? The gassy planet Jupiter's as big as planets come. Then there's Saturn with its mighty rings made up of tiny crumbs. We travel on to Neptune, that's a gassy freezing ball. And cold and tiny Pluto, it's the furthest one of all. Well, there you go, that's our solar system.
You forgot Uranus.
Good night, everybody.